Now, the community of Eldorado Park have been called to a meeting by the area's school governing body forum in partnership with Eldos Ceasefire team to discuss the challenges plaguing schools. The two platforms have highlighted that schools are dealing with a rising number of gang-related issues as well as curriculum challenges. The meeting will aim to outline solutions for school safety. Newzroom Afrika's Katleho Sekhotho is there and joins us for more. Now, Katleho, there's so much that's happening in Eldos. A few weeks ago, we had reports, in fact, a commemoration of 150 lives that have been lost in the last 12 to 24 months. What can be expected from this afternoon's conversation?
Good afternoon, Hugo. This is indeed a coming together of the school governing body forum. So this is made up of about 30 representatives of the schools in and around Eldorado Park, as well as the Eldos Ceasefire team mobilizing and coming together to discuss what is affecting schools. And this relates to crimes that are happening on school premises and just outside school premises, and really putting learners' lives in dangers and the community as a whole. And so the two platforms and general public, or the general community, coming to discuss what solutions could be. And I mean, when one speaks to residents, they already point out that it needs to be about patrolling schools, having more boots on the ground, having officials, and also the CPF being empowered to patrol at schools, and so that they can work together to protect learners, but to also protect the surrounding area of the community around the schools. But I do have with me one community leader, Charis Pretorius, to give us more details. Charis, thank you always for your time. Just take us through what this meeting will be and what solutions are you looking for?
Hey, Kat, thank you so much for coming out and chatting to us. Well, ultimately, right now, it's the coming together, like you said in your opening statement. It's all about us trying to find a solution, a plausible, tangible solution that's going to work, but we have to do it together. There's no way that we could be working in silos and in isolation when we are having young men constantly dying on the streets of this community. So it's us coming together and saying, okay, fine, these are the challenges that we have at our schools at the moment. This is the challenge that we have in our community overall. And how are we going to come together and come up with solutions? We know what the problem is. We're tired of standing in queues and telling delegates that this is the challenge and these are the issues that we are faced with. We now want to come up with tangible solutions that are going to work and make our community safe again.
Now, Charis, we were just speaking, and could you paint a picture for our viewers about what's been happening in the recent days in terms of shootings, in terms of incidents? How is this affecting the community?
Our community is afraid. In the space of 2 days, we have had 3 shootings, 2 fatalities, and ultimately we are saying, where is SAPS? That is the question that we are asking, and that is the question that's on everybody's lips, because ultimately we are saying these are the hotspots, these are the areas where we have these challenges. Why is SAPS not there? And when it does come to people phoning and talking about the challenges and the shootings and things that are happening, why is it that SAPS is not responding as we need them to, with haste, number one, and also with prosecutions, because they need to investigate. They need to do their jobs to ensure that when it gets to the legal process, they have enough information and enough to get these perpetrators to book, and also to get them to do the necessary time for the crimes that they are perpetrating.
And I guess, Charis, it's no secret. Sometimes there are gang-related incidents that then infiltrate into our schools. But then sometimes there is reckless behavior or criminal activity happening within the school. And we can speak sometimes in cases where it's the learners who are the perpetrators. Yes. What do you make of that?
And in those instances, we have the bigger challenge, because now you look at how are we assisting these learners, because in many instances they're minors. So what is the role that social development plays? What is the role that the education department plays when it comes to dealing with these cases? You have kids who have robbed or who have robbed at gunpoint. You have kids who bring weapons onto school premises. So all of these things should be dealt with in a collaboration. There should be no one department that is dealing with it, but everybody needs to come together and find out how we can do it in unison and not people working in silos and working in isolation. Because it's all good and well, social development is saying, okay, fine, we're going to come in with an intervention. But then what happens with that particular intervention after the fact? Okay, because that child needs to still get an education. And that is where the Department of Education comes into play. Because now they are saying to us, we can't deny a child education. But what about the child that is not involved in criminal activity? How does it impact on them? So it's all almost like a tumbleweed kind of effect, and everything rolls into each other. And that is why it is important for us to come together cohesively. Community safety, they too need to come in and say to us, okay, fine, these are the things that we are going to address. Empower our CPFs, you know, don't alienate them. Give them the necessary tools for them to do their jobs, and also give SAPs the necessary chutzpah, for lack of a better word, for them to do their jobs. Because ultimately it's about that. It's about getting to the end of it and finally ensuring that perpetrators are brought to book, education happens, and also people that are on substance and so forth are given the necessary resources and support.
We'll leave it there for now, Sharis. Thank you. So, Hugo, you hear it there, Sharis, outlining that it needs to be a multidisciplinary approach in dealing with crime at schools. And this is not just SAPS, but as well as social development and the education department working together to deal with the multiple challenges outside and inside schools in dealing with crime, so that children also have access to better learning and that the curriculum can go on, without any interruptions.
Katleho, Sekhotho, appreciate that coming to us from Eldorado Park.